Hey, welcome back to the workshop. This week, we're going to be taking an old rusty toolbox latch, looks like this, and turning it into one that looks like this. So if you watched my channel much, and you saw my video from either last week or week before last, I'm not sure when I'm putting this one out, but I was restoring a Craftsman 1950s toolbox, and it had these latches that were in really rough shape, and I restored one, but I didn't show the complete process on that video just to keep the video time down. So I thought I would do a video on nothing but my process that I use to turn this into this. We're going to start by taking this one apart. All right, I've still got two rivets left in the old one. I didn't drill them out deep enough, so I'm going to get a diamond burr on my Dremel tool and grind those down. I know that takes a little longer than drilling, but I feel like I do less damage here doing that. And then I just use a little spring punch to push them on through. All right, the next thing is going to be to disassemble. It's not necessary you take these apart, but it certainly is a lot easier to clean them up. So next thing is just take my snap ring pliers here, and I'll spread this apart so I can get it apart. And we can bend that back later. Then I need to get these tabs bent up, and this is always the kind of sketchy part about doing it, is I don't want to break these tabs off. I've got an old chisel here that I don't use for woodworking anymore. I only use it for stuff like this, and it's just easier to get it down in here to get it started. Then I can take my little screwdriver and pry these up to where I can get my pliers on it. And I like to use these little channel locks. They've got kind of a, I don't know if this is considered a duck bill or not, but just allows you to really get a good grip on these and straighten them up. And if we're lucky, these don't break off. And then you've got a little metal spring here. This is what gives this the kind of tension to pop back down. So when I pull this off, that spring's going to come out, which is okay. But it's not going to go flying anywhere. All right, so that's disassembled, and then we're just going to do the same thing here with the tabs. There we go, and that's apart. All right, now we're ready to start cleaning this up. When I did this one, I did not use a sandblaster, but this one I am going to sandblast first, just because I think it'll be a little more efficient. All right, for my next step here, I've got this plate. I've just got it screwed down to a wood block here. And I cleaned up the other latch with it completely. Started off with just a stripping pad. This one, I'm going to start with a coarse grit fiber disc. I guess like a, like the belts you see a lot of guys use on their 1x30 sanders. So I'm going to see if that takes it down. If it doesn't, then I'll sand this a little bit. All right, that's got all the pitting out that I'm going to get out. All right, I've moved up to a 180 grit pad. All right, got this repositioned here. That's all I'm going to do with the die grinder, and you can see it makes really quick work at getting pieces like this cleaned up. You could do this other ways. You can do it on the fiber wheel. You can do it on the belt sander. This is just the way I choose to do this. And I'm going to now sand by hand with 220 and then work my way up through a few grits. This is aluminum oxide paper. I may or may not have started the camera, but I just ran over this with the coarse conditioning pad. So now I'm going to go with medium. All right, and this will be the fine conditioning pad. All right, now I'm going to see if I can get all these fine little scratches out with some 400 grit. The hand sanding is the way to go on a piece like this. All right, so now I'm going to go to 600. And then I think I'll go up one more to 1,000 and then polish. All right, take this over the buffing wheel. This is thin metal, it's going to get hot fast. There you go, you can see how good a job that does. This piece didn't come out quite as good, but it still looks nice. I'm happy with it, and it matches. All right, for the clasp or whatever you call this, it came pretty clean in the sandblasting, so I've got 220 on here. I'm going to try and get away with just 220 and 400. I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit here with some 1,000 grit and then give it a buff. All right, this is the little piece that the latch goes over. I'm just going to do it on the belt sander here. Well, I forgot to start the camera, but I just finished cleaning this up on the fiber wheel. And how I get this curved part is I've just got I think this is a 1/2 inch dowel, maybe not quite that big. But I've just glued some sandpaper to it, and I'll chuck this up in my drill, and I'll just get in here and get this sanded the best I can. So that sandpaper is getting a little worn, so I actually just take this and put it, use my little Japanese saw and cut that off and get me some fresh sandpaper there. Just a quick cut, and now I'm ready to go again. And then the rest of this, just because it's so small and hard to get machine on, I'm just going to sand it by hand. Start with 120. All right, now the only thing really left to do is get these put back together. Start with this piece here. Now for this piece, you got to put the spring back in, which goes like this. And this piece pops in there. So there are many ways to put these latches back on. I've seen people use these pop rivets. I don't really like using these because they leave the hole in the middle. So also I've used this style before. This is like a leather working type rivet. So it's got two pieces and you pop them together like this and then you hammer them. By the time I get done hammering them, they really mess up the head. I'll be using this style rivet here, and I'll use this tool, which I've modified a little bit so that it fits in really good here, but it's got a little domed out area, which will protect this head some. It's not perfect, but it does help protect it some to keep it from flattening out when I hammer it over. So I'll just tape this on here just to hold it in place, and I'll put my rivet down in the hole. And then I take my little piece here, and I don't know what you call these things, but it fits pretty good on the third one in. So I'll actually tape it in place. That way I don't have to worry about it sliding. Because the next thing I do is I get my little block here, and I will get that lined up. Yeah, let me move the camera. Again, I've got this piece with my little domed out area taped in place. I'm going to set that right on the edge of my block so that when I hammer down, it's not going anywhere. And then I'm just going to hammer this in place with my ball peen hammer. And hopefully this didn't slide and ruin the head. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now we have a very secure latch, and the rivets look pretty good. So I'll just keep going on these. I think that looks pretty good. Oh no. Well, there it is. That's how I do it. That worked out pretty good. Well, here's the finished product on the latches. You can see I got everything riveted, and let me tell you, these rivets are rock solid. Got the latches cleaned up. I'll put a drop of oil on them here before I put this up on the shelf. But yeah, I hope you got something out of this one. Last week, you saw, if you follow my channel and watched, you saw me restore this whole toolbox. This week's video obviously was just about the latches. So I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you got something out of it. Because I've gotten quite a few questions over the years how I do the latches and how I reattach them. And I've actually been working on different styles of rivets and trying to figure it out. And this is my favorite one. I like this one the best. They're really tight and secure. So maybe that'll help you if you want to reattach your latches with some rivets. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on the next one.